Hello. Welcome. Or welcome back to TSC Talks, the podcast inspired by the condition known as tuberous sclerosis complex. My name is Jill Woodworth, and I'm your host. Today on the podcast, my guest is Nurse Carey Lee. I'm going to read you her biography because it's so awesome. I found it on the greennurse.com. She's a registered nurse. She is an Iowa Green Nurse. She is a Cannabis Nurse consultant, Integrative Health, Geriatrics, and Mental Health. She was not always a nurse. Her first career, spanning over 15 years, was in mortgage finance. Although successful, finance did not feed her soul, ignite her fire in her belly like nursing would. So she decided to, 20 years after high school, marriage, 3 boys, took a leap of faith and went back to school to get her nursing degree. Her clinical experiences ranges from emergency medicine, skilled nursing in LTAC, geriatric behavioral health, and dementia, restorative nursing, and now her primary practice is holistic integrative nursing. Nursing is her second career, but her first love. And in this podcast, we get into the weeds a little bit about her choice of cannabis as a nurse and using cannabis for various aspects of mental health. Like I said, she shares how a mid-career change and just not really feeling connected with what she was owning her own business with her husband, living in Chicago suburbs, which really connected with me because I lived there for a part of my life. And then getting into nursing and only to find out in rural Iowa, there are not that many options that really suited her. I don't want to say her fancy, but really helped her feel connected. So she, on a random, looking through an article or top 12 unusual nursing specialties, and she finds cannabis nursing, and something about that, being a longtime cannabis user, just lit her up. So this is the story of that, the story of her, how she sees cannabis helping individuals with struggling with mental health and other issues, the challenges of being a green nurse in rural Iowa. And yeah, it's just a really great interview, and I thank her so much for that. I just want to mention a few things before I let you guys listen. Our virtual holiday market. If you're interested in selling online in a QVC style fashion over between Thanksgiving and Christmas, please join us. We are actively recruiting partners for this TSC Talks virtual market, and we will help you put your content together to get ready for this event. And hopefully together we'll collaborate with sharing this all over mutually and get the word out to more people about the awesome products and services that we all have to offer, that, you know, all in one place. So check that out, admin at tsctalks.com if you're interested. And let's see, that I think is about it. I want to make a personal statement about what's going on in the world right now. It seems like everything feels like it's coming apart. It's kind of scary, and I just want to tell you all, I don't really speak too personally here, but the couple of things that really have helped me stay grounded is just being really consistent in my own trying to keep my own personal health on track, paying attention to my diet. I'm an obsessive worker-outer, doing that, and I shared about the cold showers that I've been taking, inspired by Wim Hof, and that's been really phenomenal. If you can take a cold shower, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, wow, it's like a total jolt. It's like a plant entheogen. It's amazing. And some breathing exercises that go with that are really kind of unique and challenging, and that's been like, it's just finding something new to engage and distract myself has been a good tool. I'm not saying it always works, but that's my tip for the day. Stay sane. Don't pay too much attention to social media other than listening to our awesome podcasts. Thanks again for tuning in, and take it away, Carey Lee. So I have Carey Lee. Now, your last name is, do you want me to? Leuer. Carey Lee Leuer. And you are are living in Iowa. I know you have ties in Missouri. And
yes.
you've had quite an interesting journey.
Yeah, born and raised in the Midwest. Grew up between the burbs of St. Louis and the burbs of Chicago.
Right,
And
St. Louis.
yeah, I married into Iowa. That's my little joke. I married into Iowa.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I didn't know much about Iowa till my roommate, I shared with you, my college roommate was from there, and I didn't have any, I didn't think it was bad from what, like, people that were from Iowa seem horrified to be from there, and I was like, what's the big deal? It seems pretty nice to me, but,
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the first things that really just resonated with me the first time I came out here, I mean, and we live in very rural community, was just the silence. I mean, you could walk outside the back of my mother-in-law's farmhouse and it's just the most beautiful silence I've had ever heard in my life.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's a different lifestyle. So
that's a good way to put it.
Quiet lifestyle. So
sounds just about right these days.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for being on, and tell me about your life before you got into green nursing. I know you're a green nurse and you're also a registered nurse, and so you have a regular job and you do green nursing also. So yeah, just give me a little background leading up to that.
Okay, so before I even became I'm still a brand new registered nurse. Nursing is my second career, but it's my first love. That's what I like to say.
Wow.
I've been a registered nurse for 3 years, a little over 3 years now. My first career was in mortgage finance. Completely, you think it would be the opposite. I did that for about 15 years, everything from like processing, underwriting, sales. Ended with a bang, owned my own mortgage brokerage firm with my sister and my husband.
Wow.
Yeah, VIP Mortgage Group. We ran it out of Elgin, Illinois. And I pretty much ran operations. I handled every aspect of operations. And you can be really good at something and hate it.
Yeah.
And that was me. It was not fulfilling to me. It did not tickle my fancy in the slightest. I was miserable. And
what made you get into it in the first place?
I just kind of fell into it. I actually had left and moved down to Florida after high school in the early 90s. And when I came back home to the burbs of Chicago, my sister's still there. She just got into the mortgage business herself. And so I was crashing at her pad, and she was just like, hey, you want to come in and check it out? And so I did. And, it found me. It fell in my lap, and I went with it, So I had a great career. I earned a lovely income and met great people and lots of great life experiences. But like I said, it just wasn't
wasn't feeding your soul.
It wasn't feeding my soul. That's a beautiful way to put it. So, I took a lot of time when we moved out here from the Chicago area to raise our kids out here. I went from being in the corporate world and took a decade off to raise my family.
That's a big change. So you just decided to close up shop, and I'm sure it wasn't like one day you packed the truck.
No, it was a culmination of things. I mean, we could easily see the housing bust was right around the corner. I mean, the writing was on the wall. The industry was just in its infancy of regulation, finally becoming regulated. And we were losing some money. It was hurting. We could see it immediately. And before we exhausted everything we had built up personally, it was like, nope, we're out of here right now. And I just did, I had just given birth to our youngest son, and it was just one of those things where it was like, I don't want to miss my youngest son's toddler years and his life the way I did with my older son. I was working 14, 16-hour days in the mortgage business.
That's heartbreaking when you have to work like that and you have young kids.
And I feel very, very blessed that as a woman in this day and age, I got to do both.
Yeah, totally.
So, that's awesome. And when I decided to go back into the workforce, I knew that I was not going to go back. I wasn't going to do it what everybody else expected of me. I wanted to really do something that I love and love what I do. And I always wanted to be a nurse. And I was like, screw it. I'm taking the leap and I'm going to do it. So here I am 20 plus years after high school, finally going to college. Who the heck did I think I was? But I did it.
That's impressive. Yeah. Yeah. And
I shocked myself.
I saw that you were like magna cum laude or.
Yeah, I graduated at the top of my class.
Awesome.
You know, when I got into school, you know, obviously when I'm taking the general ed courses, you know, chemistry and whatnot, I'm amongst a sea of 18, 19-year-olds. So I thought like, all right, well, I'm the old broad in here. I'm going to show these kids how it's done. And I had that to prove. So it just kind of pushed me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't really get you anywhere in your nursing career. It's not like your employer's like, oh, wow, you graduated. Wanted to give you an extra $10 an hour because no, it doesn't work that way.
Too bad, but
I was proud of it.
Yeah, you should be.
I was proud of it. So green nursing. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Let's fast forward and jump to that.
Yes, please.
So I didn't even know cannabis nursing was a thing. So the last semester or so, I'm joining groups and just, you know, digging in what's out there.
So when you're in nursing school, you're looking around, trying to figure out what to specialize in or.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that's one of the beautiful things about nursing is the possibilities really truly are limitless. There are so many different nooks and crannies and you know, but in rural America, not so much. You're looking at clinic work, hospital, or long-term care.
So then you saw that when you were.
So I saw that, and it was like, okay, I just knew deep down inside that I'm not going to fit into a conventional box. I'm not a conformist anyway. That's the Aquarian in me, you know? So I saw this article. I came across two different articles. The first article was discussing these top 12 unique, fabulous nursing specialties. And there were things on it like being a nurse on a cruise ship, which now during COVID, I realized that would have been a complete bust.
Yeah, so probably best.
Like being a registered nurse at, you know, concert venues, those
Sure.
types of things. Number 12 was cannabis nurse. And I was like, oh, what? Really? This is awesome. And then I came across another article not too long after that. It was something along the lines of dope specialty, cannabis nursing. And it was written by Eloise Thiessen, who is the president of the American Cannabis Nurses Association. That's how I discovered that association. I was like, wow, this really is a thing. And I joined in 2018 and I was silent. I didn't do a darn thing publicly. I was still way, way inside the cannabis closet.
Were you just afraid of, you know, career implications or just
everything? I was afraid. I mean, first of all, Cannabis and I go way back.
I was going to ask you that.
Cannabis and I, you know, she's one of my best friends in the world. She's always going to be.
Love it.
So I was already comfortable in that.
So it wasn't
arena.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I'm not the quintessential story of an illness brought me to cannabis.
Right. Okay. Yep. You know, you've been a partaker my boyfriend
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely. You know, I was concerned about the stigma. I mean, I felt I'm just like so many others, you know, in the country where, you know, people still equate cannabis. They correlate it to heroin use, meth use, you know, this.
Yeah.
I just don't, no, it's not, it's just not even close. So yeah, that's the fear of stigma. It's the fear of, you know, at that point, I have a nursing license now. I don't want to lose that.
Right.
I got it.
Right.
It's the fear of somebody, you know, a Gladys Kravitz out there reporting, you know, dialing up the Child Protective Services. It's happened here in Iowa.
Well, it happens in Massachusetts and we're legal and.
You know, it's just like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't get into it before, well, in the way I did until my kids were older, because I mean, we had a lot of chaos when my kids were younger. We had DCF in our faces. So, adding
That's
cannabis
scary.
then, yeah,
Oh my
it's
God, that's
changes you as a
terrifying.
human, having people come in and judge your parenting, especially when you're dealing with trauma, but history, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to be
yeah,
careful.
you
So
do.
when
So I did like what so many cannabis nurses do.
Mhm.
It, you I saw, I found I discovered Sherry on
Mhm.
Facebook, the Green Nurses,
Mhm.
and, silently followed. And I never clicked like, I never commented because, again, I didn't want to be
Wow.
attacked. And, you
Mhm.
know, and then finally, I mean, through my own post-traumatic growth and just beginning to come into my authenticity. I just finally got a bug up my butt. It was around Martin Luther King's Day, and I just felt like, you know what, I'm gonna start to come out, and that's when I created Cannabis Nurse Carey Lee on Instagram. That was me opening that door and dipping my toe into the water
Uh-huh.
and coming out slowly that way before
Makes
I came,
sense.
and
Mhm.
just kind of like sting it all out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I just feel like something that I've learned from, veteran cannabis nurses, the pioneers, the
Mhm.
trailblazers, is that every nurse has to come to a place of acceptance within when it comes to coming out of that canna closet. Understanding what the legalities are, how far are you willing to take this? How far are you willing to go with this? What are you willing to risk? And,
Right.
some of us, we're just not in that place yet, and that's
Sure.
okay.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's
It's a process,
so
and not
okay.
everybody can be all in at the same time.
Absolutely.
It really is. So yeah, that's courageous. And so since then, how's it been when you decided to come out?
First of all, I felt like I was on an island, like totally alone. I didn't have
I
a clue
bet
what the hell I
in
was doing
Iowa.
either. Yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a clue as to what I was doing. I
Okay.
mean, my behavior on social media at that point, from a personal perspective, I was extremely guarded and private. I mean, my accounts were locked down, like serious lockdown. You're not getting in, you know.
Yep.
So it was a very, it was just as much of a personal move as it was a professional move. Things happened very, very quickly.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm just like kind of plugging along, and all of a sudden I saw a post that Sherry did about, we've got, Dr. Clifton in Iowa doing certifications. And I was just like,
Oh, cool.
I was like, if that's not a sign, then I mean, it literally could have just knocked me out right in the face. And it's right there. So I plugged my nose and took a leap and jumped into the pool and, emailed and said, hi, I'm an RN in Iowa. And what can I do to get going? And she's like, I need an RN in Iowa.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Wow.
I mean, it's
That's how it
awesome.
happened. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So
it is pretty cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. I'm sure that it probably felt like a homecoming when you found, your tribe with the Green Nurses, and just because it seems to me like it's the right fit for what you've told me, integrating, your past experiences and being able to kind of use all the pieces of your life to inform your choice now. I mean, that's kind of what I see.
It really is. And
Yeah.
you hit it on the head perfectly, because I figured out very quickly, starting my transition as a nursing student into real world nursing,
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do from deep within my soul for patients. You're not going to be able to do that in most conventional nursing environments. And that was gut-wrenching and heartbreaking.
Yeah, just tell me a little bit about that. So you got the nursing degree, you're really excited to go out there, and then what capacities have you worked in nursing? And
well, first of all, I rushed in. I mean, I graduated in July, and by the middle, within 4 weeks, I took boards. I didn't even take a break. I just graduated, took boards, started my first job in an ER, brand new nursing.
Oh my goodness.
What the hell was I thinking?
I can't imagine that. That's like so stressful.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, I knew going into it that I had the intellectual capacity.
Right.
And the heart, and the stomach for it. It wasn't about
just had to learn the techniques or the nuts and bolts.
Right. Well, and unfortunately, that's where my complex, post-traumatic stress disorder came into play. The stimuli that goes on in an emergency department, you have just several layers of different noises and things going on. There's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
And that was overstimulating for me. And I was experiencing bullying from my preceptor. And unfortunately, I wasn't in a place emotionally, health-wise, to stand up for myself. I didn't have my voice yet. And
I've been there.
Yeah, it was horrible. I did not even make it out of my orientative period, my 90-day period. I resigned, and I essentially had a nervous breakdown.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, I had a nervous breakdown. I should have been probably hospitalized in a psychiatric unit, but I isolated and licked my wounds and for several months. And, I learned a lot from that, though. I
can imagine. And
yeah,
to say that you should have been in a psychiatric, because I personally had a nervous break, what they would call that. And I don't know whether that would have necessarily done me any favors, just because the nature of my traumas and whatnot were so off the track that I don't know whether the people that would have been there to help me would have had any clue how to actually get, if you know what I mean. So
I do know what you mean. And that was actually, I was hell bent on avoiding it.
I don't blame you.
Because of the fact of what I had experienced in that ER as a nurse, the way that I heard nurses talking about
mental health,
behavioral patients coming in an acute crisis, literally fighting over who was going to have to take that patient. And I was always like, I'll take that patient. I have no problem taking that patient. It's not like I was looking to, be the psych guru. It was just,
right.
How can you do that?
Yeah.
It's just a reflection of the crisis state
totally
the country has with behavioral health. So
don't get me started.
And having that knowledge, though, like really internally for me was like, I can't go to an ER. Look at how they're going to. I knew
absolutely. I knew it too.
Yeah, I had already experienced pharmaceutical trauma from psychiatric medications years ago, and medical trauma in that sense. And, I did not want to be put in a unit where they're just going to pump you with a bunch of
and make you feel like a crazy person and you're less than. And so you have a real inner knowing about you,
Absolutely. And I mean, you know what? I've grown a lot since that time. I mean, I work in a long-term care at a skilled nursing facility. My director of nursing she's amazing. She's an amazing human being. I was very upfront with her about my emotional health and what was happening, because I felt like, you know what? My employers, they need to know that. Do you want to have a nurse on the floor that has, history of, emotional health issues, And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And
that's awesome.
She's been very flexible and patient, and it's taken a long time to just be comfortable becoming a nurse in the conventional sense.
I bet.
So,
yeah. So you juggle that. Thank you for that. Yeah. So what do you see as the biggest challenges in terms of bridging the gap between cannabis nursing and traditional nursing?
Yeah, I feel like that's such a multi-layer.
It really is. I know I'm not asking the right question, I don't think.
I mean, are we talking in terms locally, or are we talking?
Well, I think in your experience, so I guess I'm trying to formulate the question off the cuff because I'm just interested in this piece of it. Do you see, I mean, I guess, talk a little bit about your own experience with cannabis. I guess that would be the better question.
Okay. So we already addressed it. I have
You're comfortable
relationship with her.
Yeah. So how has it helped you? Yeah. And what do you?
Obviously, like growing up and, adulting, my use, morphed, and it stopped being such a recreational adult use type situation. And I was using it to reduce my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know at those times that I had c-PTSD. Cannabis is the only thing that allows me to sleep without having nightmares or night terrors. And that's directly correlated to my c-PTSD. I actually thought that was a normal way of living, having nightmares.
Really?
So I've just been recently diagnosed with c-PTSD here in the last 2 years. And, they asked me on a questionnaire, do you have nightmares? It was like, yeah, my entire life. And it really sucks. And that's kind of how it was like, oh, okay, well, I've gone to a lot of misdiagnoses. So anyway,
bet.
That's kind of where my cannabis as a patient came into play for me.
Okay.
Predominantly the nightmares. And, when you're with PTSD and c-PTSD, you are basically fluctuating between the 4 F's: flight, fight, fawn, freeze. Depending upon your environment and what is happening and what is triggering you and how you're are you having emotional flashbacks, or are you having visual? You know what I mean?
I do. Wow.
It's a way to take you out of that freaking box.
Yes.
Let you
just slow it down a minute. Let me see what's going on here.
Stop the presses, people.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what it did for me. I was like, put the brakes on a little bit. That's pretty much the major thing that I would say, as well as helping physical with my physical health, was just slowing things down so I could freaking see what, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used it to reduce the nausea and vomiting that was coming on because of the anxiety, being in a constant anxious state. It does horrible things to your digestive system,
Totally.
So, and I don't know. I'm very fortunate in the sense that, I am a registered patient. That was very important to me. I want to experience what my patients are experiencing. And just like other patients, I want it to be legal.
Yeah.
I want to be legal. I want to do this the right way.
Yep, I hear you. Me too.
I want to lead in the proper way, by example, so I'm lucky. I have an employer that's cool. They know I'm very transparent. I cannot withhold and hide any longer. That's part of my personal
I hear you.
So, yeah.
It's, I love hearing, just the honesty and you're putting the pieces together now from the life that you've lived. And I found that cannabis kind of helped me see that. So, and I hear it with you. I've heard it with, other people with the story. It's pretty weird. I don't want to say weird, but like when I first started hearing people say like the plant did this or the plant, I was like, what? But now I'm
you
like,
feel like, oh my God, are they a part of some cult?
Right.
What's going on here? But it is.
Right.
I felt the same way. Like,
did you?
Talking about?
I know.
But I think it's that brings in that spirituality portion.
Thank you. Yep.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. And I guess that's been a really important piece for me. And it sounds like for you as well. I think I went through like being in a very closed-minded religious upbringing and kind of slowly pulling away from that, but not finding anything that really made sense till I came to, cannabis and just the plant entheogen experience, getting out of your head.
Yes. Oh my God. Getting out of your own way.
Getting out of your own way. Yeah. So how is it? So what do you see now? Like now that you're a cannabis nurse in Iowa, I know we talked a little bit about this before, but I don't want to say, do you have what's your practice like, or what are you doing now with your business? Is it mostly just online, or talk about that?
Yes. I mean, with COVID, it makes it difficult to do the person to person, and also just my geographic location.
Right.
I'm literally like a 3-hour drive one way away from any major metropolitan area. So the good news is Dr. Clifton is back doing certifications in Iowa. She did take a little bit of a hiatus for a couple different reasons. So we've recalibrated our program. So
Cool.
that we're handling things. Let me back up quick. Iowa, you can't even call the program a cannabis program, a medical cannabis program. It's referred to as a medical cannabidiol program.
Oh, CBD then.
Yeah, I mean, and they do have, primarily, like, we don't have flower, we don't have concentrates. It's vape, it's tincture, capsule. Yeah.
But you can get your card, so you can use THC?
Yes, they do have products formulated with THC. And then, so effective July 1st, we had a big reform. So they lifted that 0.3% cap that was on it at one point. And now it's kind of funny, but so 4.5 grams over 90 days is the max THC that a patient can have in Iowa.
Wow.
Which, like that barely like gets us to an eighth, right? I like try to visualize an eighth lasting for 90 days, and I don't know how many people, but that's funny.
Sorry.
Leave that right out there. But what it did do, I'm going to look for the silver lining.
Baby steps.
What it is baby steps. Mm-hmm. What it did do is it allowed the manufacturers to then develop products that have higher amounts of THC in it. So they introduced 2 new vapes with higher THC amounts, which I cannot wait to get my hands on. I'm actually going to go this week. So Dr. Clifton and I like to refer to myself also as a virtual RN.
Sure.
The way that I explain it to people is we are the green team. We function exactly like a doctor and a nurse would function in a clinical environment. We just do it virtually. We do it remotely.
So you do certifications?
Dr. Clifton does the certifications. I handle the incoming inquiries, and I get I do a full patient intake and health and history and medication review and consent, all that good stuff, and get them really thoroughly prepped, and they go have their exam with her so that then she can really just focus on them.
Yep, that's beautiful. And is that just for Iowa, or are you certifying in other states?
Right now, she is able to do Vermont and New York.
Okay.
And I am licensed as part of the compacture agreement. So I'm actually able to practice in 34 states.
Wow.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that on the table. And, it's like, I've told, Sherry, Sherry's on board with that too. And, we've all discussed, like, let's get one state opened up and flowing before we start, because you got to know each individual state.
Well, that's what I was thinking. There's got to be. I mean,
I'm not ready to take a bite out of that quite yet, but it's definitely down the line. Absolutely.
That's great. That's great.
So, so it gives us a little bit of hope, because that's a problem here in Iowa, is finding a provider that's willing to certify. Yeah.
Yeah, and the mental health piece, as far as the pharmaceuticals, that's pretty much the standard still, is to, I guess, I kind of want to get it. What are your thoughts with what's going on? I mean, how do you see the future of cannabis in the country? Are you hopeful?
I am.
Good.
I don't feel like it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Here's what I like to say. Hop on the bus, Gus, because it's already left the depot.
Yeah.
You can't stop what's coming. You can slow it down. You can slow it down as much as you want, but you can't stop the revolution.
Yeah.
It's here.
Preach. Yeah, it's here. Yeah.
I'm so pumped up about that. Hell yeah.
How's your family been with your transition into the cannabis nursing? Have you had any, has it been challenging or everybody's supportive?
I mean, I'm very open and transparent with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
As far as my external family, I mean, yeah, I got a little bit of pushback. You know, mom was like, oh my God, you know, you're going to go to jail. You're going to get arrested and you're going to go to jail. And you're going to lose your license. And it's like, Mom, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be fine. You just have to learn how to block out the external.
Yep. And locally where you live, I mean, do people even know you're a cannabis nurse or is it just?
Yeah, they do. I'm not gonna hide it.
Good. Good.
That's, you know, part of the beauty of social media. That's why I started in that, you know, with that realm. So, you know, and people would be calling my husband, oh my God, your wife. Oh my God, do you know your wife has an Instagram account? It's about cannabis. What's going on? Oh my God. It's like, oh my God, really? Let's have
that happen or
about it. Yeah.
That's funny.
I think he's had more, you know, anybody that's connected to
He's like your bodyguard, like.
Well, not really my bodyguard, but I mean, he has to be fielding a lot of inquiries, you know. I don't make myself available to people very often. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's had to take in a lot of that, like, oh my God, what's she doing? And and he's pretty, you know, I've kind of coached him along the way. Like, you don't got to say too much. You don't got to feel like you have to defend me.
Right.
This is her thing. You got any questions? Give her a call. She'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I think, as far as, you know, that's why I kind of focused on social media. I just wanted to help desensitize.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to kind of start while the legislation is still kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to give people something to hold on to and like make it more of a familiar thing. So I don't just do nursey sciencey posts. I do funny meme posts. I do all kinds of interesting factoid type things because that's the culture. That's the cannabis community, you know, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And the more that I share those things, I can see, you know, in some, you know, ways that it's helping, it's working, it's little tiny things, you know.
I've appreciated your social media presence online. Yeah, you post a lot of stuff that just is not, you know, it's not specifically cannabis related. It's either spirituality or just fun, like fun things to participate in. And so I think that you've got a bright future in this field. What's your vision?
Oh my God, I'm so I don't know. I really don't know.
So it's okay.
I feel like right now it's really so new. I'm still developing and learning, and I'm in the infancy of everything, and that's cool. I think really I resonate with people that are suffering from emotional health.
Okay.
You know,
mm-hmm.
And
I
that's
can see
really
that.
my focus. And for me, it's like, I just want to help people kind of, let's slow down. And if they're not in an acute crisis,
mm-hmm.
like they're not a danger to themselves or others, let's take a deep breath and I want to look at the functionality of their lifestyle. What is their sleep regimen? Let's get back to the basics.
Yeah.
What's the sleep? What is your nutrition and hydration like? What are you doing to physically move every single day?
Yep.
What are you doing? Like, where's your social support? What's your level of religious or spirituality? Do you meditate? Do you know, are you outside getting sunshine?
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as these things sound, they're an integral part of being a healthy human being.
Yeah, and you know, I think that like traditional nursing and traditional healthcare, it's like we're only getting the very narrow medical piece of it. Never was I told you should try to boost your immune system. Here's a few things you could do. Or even, it's always just, it's so focused on, well, now it seems to be focused on what pill can I put you on, especially the older I get, the more I'm like really kind of blown away by how quickly there's that reach to,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll see you back in 30 days. And if that's not working, we're going to add this on top of it. Oh, that's not working. I'm going to add this
exactly.
on top of that too. Here we go into the pharmaceutical trauma.
Yes.
Part of it.
Yes.
Because when you start in psychiatric medications, I think are the worst. However,
I agree.
Across the board. It's across the board. I'm not.
It's hard. It's hard to say that. Yeah, I hear you.
Why do we have to put it as a first line?
Exactly.
Because let's get down to the dirty white elephant in the room. Because healthcare turned into a business model and not patient centered.
It is. Yep. And I think I see cannabis as kind of forcing that issue, because you can't use cannabis and not pay attention to the other pieces of your life. It seems to me that it won't allow you to. I hate to say, that's probably not the best way to say it, but it's kind of like all inclusive. Yeah, it's a good thing. Right.
I mean, I feel like, as health, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm blaming doctors and nurse practitioners for writing out all these prescriptions. That's all they know. That's how they were trained in medical school. And just like in the mortgage industry, we were being solicited by every lender, every investor of the freaking book. And this is my program. And this is what I'm going to pay you to sell this product to that client. It's no different with the pharmaceutical game. Well, it's a business model. It shouldn't be that way. And the commercials, why on earth?
Oh my gosh. Seriously, I can't believe that people could sit through those and then go take that medicine.
It's part of that conditioning process.
It's conditioning. You're so right.
It's become normalized. And that's what I'm trying to do on social media. I'm trying to normalize the plant. Are you going to really judge me as a mother and as a human being and as a nurse for coming home after a 12+ hour shift, busting and I'm just going to take a couple, little hits off the batter box, but you're going to stop at the gas station and pick up a case and kill your liver?
Right.
I mean,
don't even go there. I know.
Don't go there, baby. Don't go there. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, I think once you start, like, you jump into that, plug your nose and jump in. There's
so much to it.
There's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, this has been awesome. I think I pretty much covered a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Carey, thanks so much. Take care.
Take care, hon. Have
a good one. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that, my friends, is a wrap. Thank you so much, Carey Lee Leuer, Green Nurse from Iowa. Please look out for our virtual holiday market, TSC Talks. Email us at admin@tsctalks.com. Stay tuned for more awesome podcasts. Up next is Jana Champagne talking about her group home, cannabis-friendly, autism-safe haven. Thanks again. I'm going to play this out. Over and out.